Today we're talking tow rigs. Ford, Chevy, Dodge, half-ton, three-quarter-ton, 1-ton, so many options. I'm going to give you a little bit of information so you can make an informed decision. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for joining us. We're going to talk tow rigs today. A lot of people like trucks. I mean, there's a lot of country songs about trucks, and they're just great. It occurred to me, though, that although I have a lot of experience in a certain type of truck, that there are people who probably haven't had a truck before, and they really don't know. So this is going to kind of appeal to you, hopefully. Of course, there are people who are, you know, diehard Chevy, diehard Dodge, diehard Ford, whatever. I kind of don't care. I just need to pull our little, it's a 22-foot 1993 Jayco camper that is heavier than the Dickens. And yeah, so every year we take kind of one big long trip with it. Our trips are getting fewer and fewer as the kids are older and into stuff, but still we love to go camping. And so this is kind of mainly going to be just kind of my experience. And I'll talk about a few of the models, and hopefully if you don't already have something and you're looking, maybe this will help. That's my goal. So let's get started. I'm going to talk about Chevy first just because that's what I have the most experience in. I have owned a number of the cat-eye trucks, and that's the 99 to 07 Chevys. And the GMCs too, of course. Actually, that's what I was after when I ended up with this truck. I was after a Duramax. When I buy vehicles from the auction, I can buy them out of the South, out of the West, what have you, and I know they're going to be clean and they haven't been from the Salt Belt. So the Duramax engine of that vintage didn't have a lot of emission stuff that you had to deal with. They make good power, and they're backed by the Allison transmission. Great trucks in my opinion. The gasser version, you know, the 6.0 if you're going with a 2500, or if it's a half ton, you've got the 5.3. Chevy parts are cheap, and I know there's anti-Chevy people, I get it. But you cannot argue the fact that they are they're just cheap to fix, they're cheap to repair, that's the same thing. And cost of ownership isn't very high in my opinion, unless you start making a bunch of power. And also with that, those trucks are all gonna have IFS, independent front suspension, which if you're lifting them, you're going to want to know about, because generally lift kits are going to be a little more expensive, a little harder to do. On that vintage, you can, it's got what's called torsion bars, and there's these keys that you can crank up. You can make it so it sits higher in the front, which that's kind of economical if you want to do like the budget route. But just something to think about. That's both. Well, that's all the trucks: half-ton, three-quarter-ton, 1-ton, so on and so forth. And then, of course, you get in the three-quarter-ton and up, you get that 14-bolt rear end, and that's pretty much the gold standard when you're building an off-road rig. Is something big like a 14-bolt if you're going to run big tires and wheel. All right, next let's go the Ford route. So many of you might not know this, but I was actually a 5.0 Mustang guy before I was a Jeep guy. I just couldn't afford to go as fast as I wanted. I thought driving stuff would be cheaper. It turns out it isn't, and that's why I went into Jeeps. So I've got a lot of experience with the Ford. In my opinion, Ford truck interiors they just seem chintzy and basic to me. Again, in that, let's just say 99 to 07, you know, I guess vintage. They're just, I don't know, they just seem cheap. But of course, the early Power Strokes, the 7.3 Power Strokes, bulletproof, absolutely bulletproof. You don't make a whole lot of power with them, they're just more reliable than anything. Of course, then there's the 6.0, which you've probably heard something about. They have some issues that you have to deal with. Head studs, EGR stuff. To get a bulletproof 6.0, you've got to spend some money, to be frank. As far as I'm aware, the Ford transmissions are pretty decent. And of course, the Fords, what they're great for is that Super Duty 60 front axle, that 10.5 rear axle that I'm swapping into my Jeeps. Those are great. So with the gas though, you know, earlier like 5.4 stuff wasn't great in my opinion. Some of the newer, like, you know, Godzilla, that's a good motor as far as I'm aware. Cost of ownership, I don't think it's terrible unless you're trying to make a bunch of power and have issues with that 6.0. But in our area here, I guess really all of them, doesn't matter. We've got rust issues, just the same. Rust, it kind of doesn't discriminate. So up here in the Midwest, honestly, they're all going to be rusty pieces of garbage by the time we get our hands on them. And lastly, with the Rams, it's actually something I know the least amount about. Everybody knows the word Cummins. They're great engines. They make power. They handle power. They're tanks. Some of the newer, okay, so the 5.9 stuff, some of the newer 6.7, some of the early 6.7 stuff I think had some issues. I don't know again that well, so you might want to look into that. But the big kind of red flag about Dodge Ram is the transmissions. They just are not. They're not good. They don't handle power. Try to put down some power and you are ultimately going to need to beef up the transmission. As far as the gas goes, I don't know that much about the reliability of the 5.7 yet, or the 6.4. I know they don't get great gas mileage when they're in the when they're in the 3/4 ton and 1 ton flavor. But so axles on these things, earlier stuff, you know, you got a Dana 60. Now it was that central axle disconnect, which is garbage in my opinion. And again, if you didn't watch my junkyard axle video, basically in the CAD, the axle shaft is a 2-piece design, and when you put it in 4-wheel drive, there's a vacuum actuated mechanism that slides a collar over the one axle shaft, locking them together, and you have 4-wheel drive. It's just janky. I don't know why they build them that way, why they built them that way. They did that to Jeeps too, and it's the dumbest thing in my opinion. But some of the newer stuff went to the AAM, American something axles. The fronts are a 9 1/4, I believe. The back is like a 10.5. Not a lot of aftermarket support, I've noticed, but they're pretty stout axles that can put down some power. All right, so if you hadn't noticed, I was being coy. Trying to give you an unbiased decision. Again, I was actually after a Duramax truck, and this guy came across the insurance auction, and good looking truck, 2 owners. It's a gasser. It's the 5.7 Hemi. It's 3/4 ton, 2,500, and it should pull our camper really nice. We'll find out. Just driving it around a little bit, I'm only getting like 9 something miles to the gallon, which isn't fantastic. So pulling our tank behind us, I don't know yet. So nevertheless, I'm excited about it. It's probably the cleanest truck I've ever had in my entire life. Like I said, I did get it from the insurance auction, and I'll show you down the other side. It's got some scrapes or whatever, but it came out of Texas. It was a 2 owner. First it was Oklahoma, for 3 years, I think, and then Texas for 8. So it's so clean. I'm really excited about it. I've got some modifications coming for it that I hope you'll like. Some of my Jeep people, I hope you'll like. But this is what I did. So I cannot make the decision for you what's best, be it a half-ton, three-quarter-ton, Ford, Chevy, Dodge. And I'm sorry, I don't mean that to be clickbaity, but it kind of comes down to you. Diesels generally are going to have more money, are more costly for maintenance, but they pull a lot better. Something like a gasser, not going to have quite as much maintenance, but maybe isn't going to get as good of gas mileage or pull as well. Half ton, you know, are you pulling something light? Are you pulling just a light Jeep with an aluminum trailer? Half ton's probably going to work for you. You're pulling a bigger rig. Maybe you need a fifth wheel and you're pulling 1, 2 rigs, a wedge trailer maybe. You're probably going to need a diesel for something like that. And do your own research as far as, you know, the different engines, the combination stuff, reliability. Here's a close-up look of my new rig. So it's a 2013 2500 Ram truck. Auction purchase, has brand new BFG KO3 tires. This is the good side. Not wrecked per se, it wasn't totaled. It is a clean title, believe it or not. I need to replace this headlight. He's got some water in him. All right, so here, again, it's not bad, but so there's a dent right here, and there's kind of a scrape down the side. I don't know if you can see that. It kind of gets into the door a little bit there. Guys, I can live with that. In fact, I got to get some of that insurance marking stuff off of it. Has 185,000 miles, 4-wheel drive, 5.7 Hemi. What's significant about it in my eyes, it may have pulled something, but there's no gooseneck, there's no fifth wheel hitch in here. So I like that, in that, you know, it hasn't been doing a whole lot of pulling, most likely. I have cleaned it out, of course. You're not going to be able to see because of the... Let me go to this other side. All right, so got a little door squeak, but the interior is very clean. A little wear here in the seat, but, you know, no headliner issues. It's a basic truck, I believe. I think it's called a Tradesman, which I did get carpet with it, but it's got a manual shift transfer case. Unlike your push button stuff, which I also like that as well. I already put some WeatherTech liners in it. Got to grease up some doors here. Oop, got some bug stuff here, but look how clean this truck is. My goodness, I like it a lot. It doesn't have a spare tire, but check this out. This was kind of one of those auction finds. It's got train horns, and we don't know how to operate them at this point. But this is like a, I don't know, like a $1,200 train horn setup. So if you know how to make this thing work, let me know. It's got a Vlair air compressor. I mean, it's legit. But yeah, I like it a lot. I did not purposely pull the center caps off so you could see the full floating axles, although that is cool. A couple of them were busted up. This wheel took a little bit of a hit, so I've got some new wheels on order, and I'm not going to tell you what those are, but Jeep guys might know. So yeah, I like it. It's gonna pull our little camper back there. All right, guys, that concludes the video. I do hope somebody finds value in this. There is a lot of options out there, and it is kind of tough to make a decision. So this is outside of our normal TJLJ content. I might be doing a little bit of a truck series here as I make modifications to the truck to not only make it look awesome, but to help the reliability and the fuel economy for pulling our camper. And so stick around for more TJLJ content. I do have some fun stuff coming up. So thank you so much for watching, guys. We'll see you on the next video. Take care.